Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another Premier Draft of Bloomburrow with one alchemy card per pack. Without further ado, let's just get into our pack one, pick one. It's going to be a pretty simple one here. I think the rare is quite powerful, the Dark Star Augur. You definitely need to build around it to make sure that you're not just going to die to all that life loss, but that's pretty easy to do for a Bats deck. If you're in black-white life gain, this card is going to be great. But you can also play it in a really low curve, kind of black-red aggro deck, just by having a low enough mana value of spells to not take too much damage and being aggressive enough that that life loss doesn't matter too much. Alternatively, black-green can use it well if you have enough food token production. That's another way to gain enough life to counteract that, so there's actually more homes than you would think for the Dark Star Augur, and it is pretty dang powerful in any of those decks, so we are going to work towards it and grab that Dark Star Augur. Pick 2, getting past a Valley Quest Caller is pretty incredible, and that's certainly going to lean towards black-white bats here, since that is one of the 4 creature types that the Quest Caller is going to buff up. It's great to play this and then offspring some bats as well with a card like Dark Star Augur that makes 2 bats off of 1 card. Pretty easy Quest Caller. We don't even have to look at the rest of the pack because the card is just that strong. For pick 3, we now have SoundCloud Harbinger. That was probably not the right pronunciation. The words got jumbled in my mouth, but this is a pretty good card for a Bats deck. The weird thing about this card is like it's such a strange ability in general, and it's a lot of text to kind of read through. But the thing that's interesting about it is that any time that you play a desert that you've conjured into your deck with this card, you're now going to gain 3 life, and you can ping yourself for that 1 damage. So you can trigger all of your cards that care about life gain and all of your cards that care about life loss in one fell swoop. So the card actually plays really nice in this archetype, and I think it's a great pickup here. Alternatively, Saver should be a pretty high pick. You always need removal, but we are in the Alchemy queues. Let's play with some of the Alchemy cards while we've got the chance. And a pick 4 Dark Star Augur copy number 2. Looks like Bats is a pretty great spot to be, and that's just going to make our deck real consistent here. And if we're going to be a double Dark Star Augur Bats deck here, I think we want to definitely build around it a little more than just getting a bunch of life gain. We're also going to want to be pretty low curve and pretty aggressive, because now we have 2 great cards for keeping us fueled, just giving us a bunch of extra card draw. So it's okay if our curve is really low, because instead of just playing 5 drops and 6 drops in the late game, we'll plan to just finish our opponent off by casting multiple cheaper spells off of a bunch of card draw like this. Just keep dumping things out quick. Pick 6. This is our first pack where we're a little disappointed here. I don't think we really want to play any of these cards. The Thistledown Players and the Seed Pod Squire and the Thornplate Intimidator are all just not very synergistic creatures, nor are they particularly low mana value. I would take a non-synergistic 2-drop, but we have so many 3s and 4s at this point in a deck that already wants a low curve with double Augur that I'm not really interested in any of this. To the point where I'm actually going to hold down the Alt key. If there was anything I didn't have a full play set of, I think I'd rare draft here. But if it's the difference of an uncommon for Vault Progress or a commoner for Vault Progress, I'll take a random filler 3-drop just in case. Pick 7, Star Charter is excellent card draw. For this kind of deck, this is definitely going to be one of the most expensive cards we'd want to run in here. Generally, Glide Dive Duo is really good in a Bats deck, but with 2 copies of Dark Star Augur, that actually gets a little concerning. That is quite a hefty payment for it. But I guess so is Star Charter. Losing 4 to draw this is kind of big too. But I think it's a little more worth it, because again, it's going to fit so well in here. We're already incentivized to take such low mana value creatures that they're probably also going to be low power enough for the Star Charter to consistently draw stuff. Okay, Waxwane Witness, but that will probably get the cut over other 4-drops like Star Charter when I cannot run a lot of them. Scales of Shale could give us some life gain. The problem is that it is a 3-drop when we draw it off of an Augur, and it's generally a 3-drop as well. We're not going to have a lot of lizards in this deck. So it's a little expensive for what it's doing, but you can gain a good chunk of life off of it. Alright, pack 2, pick 1. I think my sound effects are still off. Oh yeah, because we played a Forge deck last time. Alright, a great 2-drop. The Warren Elder looks like a good pick here. Bonebind Order is also fine, but I think Warren Elder is the stronger card. And then Ruthless Negotiation. It's a nice little value play, but let's grab a Warren Elder. Just play to the board, get real aggressive here. Pack 2, pick 2, we get past an Alchemy Bat Rare. So we will take it. I do want to say Sonar Strike's a very high pick for this deck, but probably not over an on-archetype, on-color rare. If the Banisher weren't in the pack, I would certainly take Sonar Strike over Scavenger's Talent or Nettleguard or Mabel's Metal. But this Darkstar Banisher looks like a pretty great card. Hits the board, exiles one of your opponent's cheaper permanents, and then when this dies, they don't even get that permanent back to the board. They get a card of the same card type into their hand. So they will still have to spend a bunch of mana recasting whatever they draw into. So it's pretty good tempo, even if the Banisher dies. Yeah, we are really in the market for cheap life-gaining removal. Actually, the way things are looking here, I really wish I took the Saver over the Harbinger, but I wanted to make sure we were playing with alchemy cards during the alchemy drafts, and we might get punished for that here, it looks like. None of this is going to be good in this deck, really. We have too many 3-drops to play a Mouse Trapper, and Ravine Raider's not that exciting, and we certainly can't play a 5-drop. Pick number 4, no removal again, but we can get a second Sandcloud Harbinger, which should be perfectly helpful with all that life gain, even if it is a 3-drop. I do like the Assassin here, another life gainer that's only 2 mana. But I'm going to take the Harbinger. When in Alchemy, and they also play pretty well in multiples. Mudflat Village, nice card for the late game if you run out of stuff to do. Just sack this and bring something back. Here's a Crumb and Get It. We're low on non-creatures, so we'll grab that. Perfectly serviceable combat trick. Okay, ideally I'm cutting these Waxwane Witnesses. Let's play the 8-drop. No. Take a 3-tree mascot, I guess. It's a really filler 2-mana creature, but there it is for now. Alright, Nettleguard I think is better. 4 mana, very slow life gain. Not really going to be good for this deck. You know, I don't think we're a deck that's going to care too much about hand manipulation, like making our opponent discard cards and stuff. We really want to be pretty much exclusively playing to the board, but a 1-1? A 1-1 over that? I don't know, maybe if we don't get any removal, maybe I'll have to just pick up a bunch of Scales of Shale and having a couple more Lizards to make those cheap enough to actually cast. Could be nice. Yeah, I mean, if I just have like a playset of Ravine Raiders, then Scales of Shale can be some additional helpful life gain. Pack 3, pick 1. Saver versus Starfall Invocation. So obviously Starfall Invocation in a vacuum is the much stronger card, but we are really a deck that is fully playing to the board immediately and never looking back with double Darkstar Augur drawn cards too. Yeah, we're almost always just going to be ahead on board. This is like the best safety button backup plan you could possibly ever hope for, but it's only going to be good when things are going wrong for us, whereas Saver is going to be good when we're ahead, when we're tied, when we're behind, just in literally any position this card's going to help us out. If we're in a position where we've curved out and we draw into a Starfall Invocation, that's going to sit in our hand and do nothing for like 7 or 8 turns until our opponent comes ahead, or we're just down a card if we win the game with that sitting in our hand. It's like we took a mulligan. So pack 3, pick 2, definitely need more removal. Consumed by Greed looks very reasonable, although the Mudflat Village makes that a little harder to cast. That needs double black to be cast, and the Mudflat being one of our black sources and not being able to cast that spell makes it even harder to cast. So yeah, double black is already a cost, and double black in a deck that's also running a Mudflat makes it a pretty big cost, so maybe it's actually worth it to take Repel Calamity over it. Repel also slightly less expensive, so slightly less damage for the double Augur, but I think the value is still worth it. I mean, the ability to bring back your best creature from grave, put it back to your hand is pretty huge on this card. And as much as we need removal, we can't really take Savor over Zoraline, who is actually the Stone Cold Nuts for this deck. I mean, as we could tell from pack 1 with the Dark Star Augurs, Bats is just wide open. So really nice to get this pick 3 Zoraline in the final pack, and that gives us actually a lot of life gain. Every single bat attacking gains us life. However, once again, despite how badly I need removal, I'm not going to take a 5-drop in a double Dark Star Augur deck. That's a little rich for my blood. We'll take a Lupin Flower Village here, or a Nettle Guard to play over some 3-tree mascots. 4, you know, I don't know. Either's pretty good. I'm going to go Lupin Flower Village. Pick 5 gives us nothing. We'll take Cindering Cutthroat. Or actually, I mean, we could play this, but I do have a lot of 3s. Even if I treat Augurs as 4-mana cards, I have plenty of 3-mana stuff. Yeah, I'll just rare draft this Flood Caller. Pick 6. Wow, this was a double Gev draft pod. Could have definitely been Rakdos Lizards. Another 5-mana removal spell with Early Winter. That's a bummer. Do I rare draft Gev or do I take the Early Winter? I think I take the Early Winter, but I really want to cut it here. So I probably will end up doing that, but we'll see. Okay, we have enough cards to cut 1 Waxbane Witness now. One of those 4-mana life losses. Pick 7, boom, Repel Calamity, perfect. What's our creature count? 18, pretty high. I'm going to cut a Waxbane Witness for that. But then if we get another spell, I can cut Early Winter, and then after we cut that, we start cutting the mascots. So if I find one more playable, we get to cut Waxbane Witness. If I find one more playable, we get to cut Early Winter, and then after that, start cutting mascots, and that's great. I think Starscape Cleric here. This card has a huge amount of damage with Zoraline. It's also pretty good with Harbinger. It's great because of the Offspring with the Quest Caller. Passing up on some life gain, Scales of Shale and Moonrise Cleric, but I think the card's strong enough to be worth it. This also, what's really nice about this is it gives us a 5-drop in the deck that doesn't shoot us for 5 if we draw it off of either Augur. So we can dump 5 mana into this and get, 5 mana worth of stats, but also not shoot ourselves for way too much. Glide Dive Duo? Is Glide Dive Duo strong enough to play over a 3-tree mascot despite having 2 copies of Dark Star Augur? It is definitely an infinitely better card than 3-tree mascot in a vacuum, but ever losing 5 is going to be a massive, massive hit. It's interesting. I think Cutthroat over Mascot is pretty easy here. I think we're aggressive enough with enough cheap creatures to get the counter on that. The final choice here is, do I cut Glide Dive Duo or cut this Mascot? Or I could go 16 lands, but I don't think we want to do that. We really want to hit 4 mana on turn 4, and then if I flood a little bit, it doesn't really matter. With 2 copies of Augur, most games we will see that, and it will pull through the flood, and flooding just makes this a little less painful as well. It's like super comfy to just dig through lands with that card. Yeah, I'm cool with the 17 for sure. It's our average mana value. 2.5. It's definitely a creature we have to cut. I think Mascot's just a weak enough card to drop here. Yeah, I think we just drop the Mascot there and maybe take a hit or 2 to cast a Glide Dive Duo. But we're going to call it there and hop right into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the draw for game 1. Opponent starts with turn 1 Mist Breath Elder. And because they're on the play, if they play a creature that buffs that, if they play the 1-mana frog that puts a +1/+1 counter on the board, we're just going to lose to Mist Breath Elder. Luckily they didn't play that, so I can go ahead and savor the Mist Breath Elder here before it draws them another Pawn Profit card or gets any counters. That way we don't just instantly die to that. And they don't get any extra card draw. I would rather take an additional 1 than let them have another 2-mana draw 1 in their hand. Darkstar Augur has arrived. Do I Harbinger into trying to Offspring it later? I kind of feel I do. This also makes it slightly more likely for Augur to hit some lands here, which is pretty good because we do need to draw lands. And those will be free draws from the Darkstar Augur instead of life payments. Cool. So let's Offspring it out. Poke with the Harbinger. Polywallop the Harbinger. So they shut off our life gain from that. But we hit land, and you love to see it. I don't like the third land here, because I'd love to draw lands off of the Augur specifically. But we're looking fine, and I'm about to gain more life and drop a 3/3 flyer for damage here. It's pretty great. Light Shell Duo, that is on the ground, so we are still getting damage in the sky here. Let's see what we got. Zorline, which gains a ton of life and a land. Oh, and then Darkstar Banisher. Wow. Alright. There is no board wipe in green or blue, so this seems pretty unlosable right now. But we'll see. Maybe they've got something real powerful I haven't thought of. Yeah, there's the concession from our opponent. We triple bat rared them, and that was a little rich for their blood, so we're 1-0 heading into game 2. Alright, let's just keep it rolling in here. Big damage. We're going to pretend to be a lizard deck this time. Double Ravine Raider and a Cutthroat coming up. Play the Augur on turn 4, because we've got a lot of pressure on board already. And now we just use the Augur as just a low curve aggro deck rather than a life gain deck. Although we are both, which is kind of perfect. There's the Root Weaver, which can't block either Raider, so we are definitely buffing up this Cutthroat. And then we really want to top deck land number 4. Again, do not think this is a 16 land aggro deck, because that 4th mana is so huge. Alright, that's a lot of blockers. They can double block something now. That's the 4th mana. They have to double block Cutthroat to kill it, so let's send that in, but it's definitely a Darkstar Augur turn. The 2-for-1 trade has been accepted. I am very happy with that. This is a trade that would likely happen later anyway, at a time where I may have spent mana into giving this Menace, so this is just a good little mana advantage to just get it over with here. Without having to give the Menace to make it a trade like that. Yeah, because if they play like a 4/6, I would have to get Menace to get around that. And actually kill something on the attack. Valley Quest Caller, Star Charter, Saver. Saver plus Crumb and Get It is enough power to kill a green shell here. Quest Caller and Saver is not. That would be 3 power and -2 toughness. That would be 4 toughness over there. If they block the 1/1 Augur, then I don't do anything to green shell, but otherwise I Crumb and Get It Saver here. Perfect. So if their play was to just kill the 1/1 Augur, we would just accept that and just play to the board. Probably Star Charter, because that would draw us even more cards. I definitely didn't want to play Intrepid Rabbit that turn, so the choices would be a 4-drop or a 2-drop. Pretty simple to just play it mana efficiently at that rate. And play the most expensive card we can. Alright, Nocturnal Hunger, the bigger Augur, but we're still drawing cards off the smaller one, which is excellent. And now I can Mudflat Village back the first one and Offspring it if I get enough life gain, but I'm pretty sure we are playing something else right now. Oh, I can't be perfectly mana efficient no matter what I do. I could Questclar plus Intrepid Rabbit here without the Offspring. I feel like I have so much card draw, I don't need to max out the value I'm getting out of each of my cards. Like, I don't need to Offspring the Rabbit if I can be a little more efficient this way, actually. So I think this is probably worth it. Because, again, I'm just going to have, like, an endless supply of cards. That's going to be the Augur draw, so yeah, I'll take it. I'm going to have more than enough to do with all this mana. I have 2 Ravine Raider mana sinks on board. I have a Mudflat Village that I'm going to sack and lose a land to. And then, you know, Mudflat Villaging is going to be tap 2 and sack this, and then I need like 3 lands to play the Augur. I'm pretty sure I played my land for turn there, but if I didn't, that was obviously a punt. Acorn Scrounger. I think I might have actually missed my land drop by accident. Because we Offspringed the Augur, and then the turn after we did all the combat tricks. So I had 4 lands. I played a 5th. I think I just forgot to play a land, actually. My bad. So Uru makes a lot of blockers on the ground, but we've got a lot of flyers in this deck, so still good ways to close the game out here. Yep. And if I... Again, if I bring back the Augur, kind of already have multiple flyers. Yeah, if I forgot to play the land last turn, that's actually super detrimental here, because that would be the difference between using the Offspring ability on Augur or not. So since I can't use the Offspring ability on Augur, I just play a Star Charter and crack a food. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's just a great draw. And cracking the food is going to immediately put that in my hand here. They can make a 2/2 squirrel. No, it's a 1/1 squirrel. It doesn't get +1/+1 until they sack tokens for it. Chump attack with 1 Ravine Raider to get 1 more damage in. Not yet. It's definitely an option in the future. So we're going to eat a food, and Star Charter is going to draw our Starscape Cleric. And then the Starscape Cleric is going to be a lot of flying power that also shoots our opponent when we eat our next food. Ooh. Not bad at all. Oh, I guess this is just an enter the battlefield effect, really. It's not... Oh, shoot. Glide Dive Duo. Feel like the wider board state is better, because this is also going to make our opponent lose too. Just when we eat a food. But yeah, I kind of forgot this Mythic. If you're behind to where your squirrels aren't really going to be dealing combat damage to your opponent, then it's really just the enter the battlefield effect, so Basically just traded a 3/3 into a 4/3. It doesn't really like feel like we killed a mythic. Camellia, alright. That's pretty bad for getting any attacks in on the ground, but we still have a lot of flyers. Still have a lot of flyers, tons of card draw, plenty of life. See how we're scrying here. Whatever's coming next out of our deck could change our combat decisions slightly, maybe. Probably not. Looks like a spot where we're just attacking in the sky. Double Harbinger? I mean, with a Starscape Cleric or its offspring, that's a fine card to draw off of the Star Charter. If the Star Charter is still around, they have removal. I expect that to be what dies here. Alright, another squirrel on the ground from our opponent. Sack the food to buy a little time, so that they don't literally just die to Starscape Cleric triggers. Instead, they go to 2 life. Let me grab that Harbinger. There's the GG from opponent, and the concession. We are 2-0 heading into game number 3. Alright, here we are for game number 3. Nice aggressive start with that Darkstar Augur turn 4. Ideally we hit a 3-drop. Turn 2 I can just like poke for 2. It's an okay use of the extra mana instead of doing nothing, but certainly would like to play at least one more creature before we get the Augur down. I guess if they play a decent 2-drop we could Consumed by Greed, but that doesn't feel profitable. Have to be pretty good to be worth it. Well, bummer draws, but the hand is still strong. Actually think I just hold off here for blocks. And then if they combat trick, I can 2-for-1 with Consumed by Greed. It seems perfectly reasonable. Consumed by Greed for a single Nettle Guard is pretty bad, but for Nettle Guard and a combat trick, serviceable. Okay, so now I can Offspring Augur and then Offspring Cleric, and yeah, here we go. Let's get things rolling. And I've already got my 1/5 drop in my hand, so we know we're not going to get hit by that. So that is helpful. Trade a combat trick for Ravine Raider. Or I will trade a 3/1 for Ravine Raider. Seed Pod Squire. Alright. Let's draw some cards. Sun Scorched Desert and Star Charter. Ooh. So we don't gain the life from their Harbinger. We do draw the card. I have already lost life for this Star Charter. And at 14... So I could draw another card with Star Charter, but I do have an active Darkstar Augur on board, so that does not seem super necessary. I could, if I really think I have enough card draw, I could Consumed by Greed the Seed Pod Squire so I can keep getting in and play just a 2-drop Cleric here. I feel like I have more than enough card draw with just Augur. So I don't need Charter down, and I also don't need max value from all these. It's going to be a little less damage, but getting flyers out of the way is pretty huge here. And reducing the amount of damage they're coming at me with is big. This Harbinger is going to be hard to race. Oh, their own Glide Dive Duo is very good against Darkstar Augur Offspring. This actually is a really sketchy matchup for Augur. Wow, I hit all the Sunscorched Deserts? That is awkward. I mean, they have more than enough life right now anyway. I guess I can repel Calamity the Harbinger, but then I don't draw a card for playing the desert. I'm quite confident I'm drawing the card here. Okay. You could play a Star Charter, draw off of that, and have Repel Calamity up. The odds of getting 7 mana value worth of cards are basically 0. Yeah, I have no more 4-drops in the deck. The maximum I can get hit is for 6 next turn. So I'll have to make some blocks, but unless they have like another life loss card like Glide Dive Duo, copy 2, should be able to survive off Star Charter Repel here. Oh, those are some big misses. Saver and Scales of Shale are gone now. We're probably dying to our Augur. I guess if they attack in, we get to do some chumps here to stay alive. Oh, right, they could just ping me for 1. And then if I hit 2, 3 drops, I die. But again, the odds are not very high that that happens. Especially because I just put 1 on the bottom, the Scales of Shale. Wow, they had double duo? Okay. Well, to be fair, this is probably the worst matchup. Darkstar Augur and the Mirror Match. The Mirror Match is just where they have the most life drain possible. Should I be mana efficient and repel the Harbinger? No. I mean, it doesn't actually... I don't know why I thought it would stop the 1 ping from Sunscorch. It doesn't stop them from pinging me with it. It just gains them more life. Yeah, I think we just go to our turn and see if we hit a land. If we hit 1 land, we're fine. Alright, we're fine. Hello. That is a big deal. Don't know if it's enough. We have to get really lucky, obviously, but it's a gain 3 here. Oh, the Zorline? I don't get to hold up Repel Calamity anymore. It's only a gain 1 right now, because they can't attack hard or I don't have blockers. If I had 1 more mana, I think I'd Zorline hold up Repel Calamity. Do I still Zorline attack with Star Charter? I feel like I still Zorline attack with Star Charter here. Maybe even the 1/1 Augur? Because again, if it dies, then I don't get pinged anymore. I guess I could just send the Augurs in because I have a full grip of cards. Yeah, this is a gain 2, and if they're chump attacks, then I am no longer under the life total pressure. Probably actually worth it. And if they're not chump attacks, then it just means I get to keep gaining 2 every turn off these. Alright, cool. Darkstar Banisher? Yeah, for sure. Need to go all in on flyers. I'm gonna hope double white is enough. for now. I'm not getting rid of Sunscorched Desert as long as Harbinger's on the board. Maybe just one of the ground troops. The Nettle Guard would be the most expendable ground creature. I'll have 8 mana next turn. I could cast my Glide Dive Duo and the Darkstar Banisher. Banishing Light, goodbye Zoraline for sure. Put me to 3. Yep, put me to 3. It is. That is painful. Combat Trick 2, basically double removal here, would be disgusting. I don't know what's taking them so long if they have it. This is strange for sure. Sonar Strike. Yeah, that was a long time for Sonar Strike, but alright. And maybe they have multiple options. Okay. I feel like when I just had the extra 2 mana sitting there, I should have just repelled this Harbinger a long time ago. I've gained them a lot of life. And get my draw 2 before I choose what I do, because that's going to give me 2 more options. Okay, we're not going to play that. Duo off triple colorless. Yeah, this can't exile the Glide Dives. Yeah, go to 10. I think I just Banisher the Harbinger, because then I am playing to the board while getting rid of it. Oh, never mind. Oh my god. I did not know I could do that, and that is incredible. It is not creatures only. That is a huge deal, because Zoraline back is big. Ooh, gain 3. Let's go. Sandcloud Harbinger, actual MVP. Be so dead without gaining 3 off all these deserts. It's a pretty good response to your opponent having their own Harbinger as well. Another Glide Dive Duo, my lord. That is a lot. Now a Moonrise Cleric. Okay. I can attack with Zoraline, bringing back Glide Dive Duo of my own. Force a double block to kill the Zoraline. Then, even if they kill Zoraline, I've got cards in here where I could get her back later. Feels pretty good. Oh, Quest Caller? Wait, Quest Caller is actually insane, right? Because now Zoraline could be a 6/6 attacking in? Yeah, that's too big. Don't have enough of white mana to also have Repel up anymore. Or use Zoraline's ability. I guess I could have scryed one land to the top so that I can play Darkstar Augur without getting shot. If I attack with Banisher, I'm gambling on them not having another enchantment. If they have 2 copies of Banishing Light and they block, that's going to be gross. It's going to be not good for me. Alright, this is cool. 13. I'm going to drop it at 13. I guess I do get one more scry. Yeah, I'll just keep the swamp, sure. Just take 0. Repel Calamity of the Zoraline. Pass the turn. Swamp Swamp are the draws. 14 cards left. Really tempted to just draw 2 again. Even though I should be getting more white mana at some point. Uh-oh. Wow. I actually don't know how many lands I have left in here. And single buff with the Warren Elder. Another Sandcloud Harbinger. I actually don't think that's super good right now. I need to finish this game. Now there's like a very real mill thing going on. It's a 3/3, it's a 3/5. If they draw an enchantment, I have a Nettle Guard in my hand. I guess I'm not holding up blocks anymore, but I'm at 18 now. Yeah, I think we're trying to turn the corner here. Okay. Do I repel the Harbinger or buff the Warren Elder? Or just let the rabbit die? I guess the only other thing to do with my white mana is a Repel Calamity, or a Nettle Guard anyway. I can't double buff. Yeah, sure. Well, if I repel now, they could have a combat trick to save a Glide Dive Duo. You know what? This rabbit is not that valuable. Ooh, they do have an enchantment still in there? Alright, well now they get to Banishing Light something else, and then I'll Nettle Guard the Banishing Light. Well, since I know now that they have another enchantment in hand, I am not going to put a Nettle Guard on the board. Not until they plop that down. Fountain Port, that's a very good mana sink. This game has gone on a long time. This is the game that we were down to like 2 life with a Darkstar Augur and an Offspring on board. Wild. It is looking like it's just going to come down to mill. And we're going to mill out. Too much card draw. Bandit's Talent is the enchantment. Okay, that just functionally does absolutely nothing, so I don't even think I'm going to Nettle Guard it. Lupin Flower Village. That's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Graveyard Recursion land here. Okay, I'm gonna get another white source so I could triple Warren Elder. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? I guess not yet. I'm 1 mana off from triple buffing with Elder. But still, I can double buff. So this is 5 toughness, this is 6 toughness, this is 5 toughness, this is 5 toughness, that's 6 toughness. Alright, they're just gonna concede. They're over it. I'm playing it safe, trying to find out the right attacks and everything, and they apparently do not like what is left in their deck versus this board state. They're tired of all our rares, and we are 3-0, undefeated, heading into Game 4. Alright, here we are for Game 4. We get a turn 2 Valley Quest Caller. That's the fastest quest caller we've had so far. That'll be very spooky. Save the Mudflat Village for last because it can only cast creatures, and we don't need to sack it right now, so. We don't need to use this till very late in the game. You're just holding up a combat trick here. Just banish the scribe seems fine. Seeking a random creature from their deck is not that bad. On average. Harbinger? Sure. You can join the party. Then I can play Harbinger and Ravine Raider, so now I can be mana efficient while spending all my mana dumping creatures on board. Ooh, Wildfire Howl. Gross. Kind of perfect there. Good if pretty much every creature in your deck is more than 2 toughness, and it looks that way so far. A 2-3 and a 1-3. Ooh, we got double Harbinger? Yeah, let's go. Right. Get this set up. I'll be at 1,000,000 life this game. Keen-Eyed Curator, that is certainly a problem, but we'll consume it by greed whenever we hit the next black source. I'd certainly like to hold Saver up. And Arena really doesn't want to. Okay, against open mana... It's all red mana. There shouldn't be anything that beats a Saver particularly easily here. There's like the +1/+0 shoot somebody thing. Doesn't really work well. I'm assuming the open mana is just holding for the Curator's ability to exile cards from graveyards. Okay, that's fine. Maybe better play Nettle Guard than hold up Saver, I'm not sure. They need 4 different card types. There's only 2 right now. Yeah, that's definitely not going to be the 7/7 trample yet. Ooh, gain 6, baby! They do draw 2, though. Yikes. Pretty good mythic. Pretty good mythic. I can Savor, basically making them discard 2 cards here. I'm turning it into a draw 3 instead of a draw 5. I feel like that's probably worth it. Okay. Draw 2, gain 6. Ooh. The fact that the counters went on the Druid since I did that to play around Consumed by Greed. Smart from our opponent, but we can wait to consume it until it's a 7/7 anyway. But I don't think they did that specifically to play around Consumed by Greed. I think it's just a general spreading your threats out kind of thing. Oh, right. They keep exiling our grave. That's why Consumed by Greed and Mudflat Village have no gas right now. Yikes. And just sit here and keep playing Sunscorched Deserts for now is where we are at. There's the boar. Is that another sorcery? So there's an instant now. They're 3 out of 4 for Keen-Eyed Curator. No attacks anyway. I think whenever I hit my next black source, I have to play that over a Sunscorched Desert. Just so we have Consumed by Greed at the ready. Oh my god. Alright, well, we've hit basically all the deserts. There's one more in the deck at this point. We are at 44 life. Decent life total. Darkstar Augur would be kind of nutty right now. Oh yeah, that's a 7/7 right now. Actually, just a swamp would be incredible. Swamp might be better than Darkstar Augur. I'm at 44. I guess I can take some Curator hits. Just the boar. Double block it if they don't have a combat trick. They kill one of these two, but they probably do. They've got a lot of open mana. Yeah, just take it. 44 life is just it's a little bit of breathing room. Double boar. Yep. Powerful decks in the alchemy queues. Our deck is super, super absurd, but we've been running up against some very strong decks as well. I'm gonna be mana efficient here. I could hold on to this because I do have cards that trigger whenever I gain life, but I assume off of the Harbinger card draw and multiple draw 2 a turn cards in my deck, I should just be making use of all my mana because I'm going to end up with a lot of spells to play and abilities on board and stuff pretty frequently. Alright, there we go. Repel Calamity is a fine alternative to the Consumed by Greed here. And I think I just pop the Curator while they're tapped out of green mana so they can't have a hexproof trick. And then we can finally start building up a graveyard again. And actually having options for Mudflat Village and Consumed by Greed. Free Guard Duo is going to be a lot of damage here. This Mudflat Village not casting Consumed by Greed is costing us a lot of life. Lot of life. But the Harbingers have gained us like 40 life or something this game, so it's all good. That is still not the black source. Do I have to loop in Flower Village to make sure I'm doing something here? I feel like draw 2 is still better than loop in Flower Village. Probably because I can draw the black source for next turn, but loop in Flower Village can't. Like, what if I crack the village and it's 6 swamps and they all go to the bottom now? Alright, cool. We found the Darkstar Augur. We also found every Sunscorched Desert. So those are out of the way. Boom. Yeah, this is going to be a huge deal. Even if they kill it, if they don't exile it, I have the Mudflat Village. that double Season of Gathering? Yeah. Alright. These queues are actually absurd. We're on like the 6 rare bat deck. They're on 2 of the same mythic green-red. Plus also looking like a 6 rare deck. They've cast 3 rares on us already, 2 of which were mythic. Yeah, our decks are probably equally completely broken here. That was a draw 6. Put 2 counters on the board, give Vigilance Trample. Ooh, and then the Fountain Port Charmer with like 8 cards in hand, make them all cost 2 less to cast. Well, things are start getting really bad for us really quickly. Kill some of the reach, because they're still kind of low on life if we can get enough flyers. They got a 1 mana trick to win this? For red or green? It would have to be, what, the +1/+3 out of green? Oh, Polywallop for free. Yeah. Shoot. Was not expecting the free, or sorry, the 1 mana Polywallop from the green-red deck. I was not paying attention to frog count, but it is 3 because of the offspring. Hello, Zorline. Where is Swamp 2, by the way? We're 22 cards deep. Ooh. Zorline back a Nettle Guard? I guess Zorline back a Glide Dive Duo post-combat could be something. I lose 2 life to use the ability, but then gain the 2 life right back to Glide Dive Duo. And then they're down to 10. That actually seems reasonable to me. I guess I still get to Sunscorched Desert draw 2 this turn. So I guess since I still get to do that, I should do that now and see if that changes things. I should have done it before Star Charter, but you know. Rabbits, Swamp. Okay, I don't think that changes things. This is going to be shoot them for 2. I have finally found Swamp 2 for next turn. Oh, shoot. I forgot Zorline only hits small things. I'm stupid. I don't think I've ever had that come up before, but it very much came up there. That is definitely a misplay. I've always had Zorline just pick up whatever I want. Ah, it's kind of a huge misplay too, because our best way to win here is to get a wide enough board of flyers to crack through for 12. And now I just lost one of them. Like every 1 less flying attacker I have is a huge deal. That was real bad. I'm so surprised. I played Zorline so much and I've never had Zorline not be able to pick up something from Grave. Surprised that has never come up for me before, that I've had like a 5-drop and tried to get it or anything. That's pretty devastating here. Let's get hit by the next combat trick from our infinite card in hand opponent. No, we actually broke through one of the reach blockers. Take out the trash Zorline, fair. Yeah, I think our route to victory was wide flying board state. We might have punted it away with the chump attack because I thought we could get it back, but we couldn't. So I've got consumed by greed now, but it doesn't even kill their reach creature. At this point, it does bring back Zoraline. Need to hold 3 mana up. So I have 4 mana after I play Intrepid Rabbit. So I'm probably playing a Warren Elder and not doing anything with it. But I can threaten to do something with it if it matters, which it doesn't. But I still threaten. I mean, this is revealed. I mean, they're at 11. Yeah, they're at 11, that's fair. But that's all their reach creatures now. And we have a Warren Elder on the board. This is probably lethal if they don't have removal, but it would be incredibly surprising if they don't. It's 14 life, essentially, because of that food token, and we can hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. Triple buff. So add another 6. I can hit for 12? Okay, it's not lethal. I have to hit for 14, I can hit for 12 with triple Warren Elder buffs. Okay, there's a reach blocker as well, so very much going to be multiple swings to try to find the win here. We'd be in a real good spot without that Glide Dive Duo chump attack. They have 7 cards left in their deck. We might be able to get them to mill out, too. We make them draw another card here. They're down to 6 in deck. Power 2 or less can't be blocked by. So I can chump or not block that. I think I just don't block that then. Gift them the card for sure. Gets them closer to milling. And lets us pick up Zoraline. Another boar? The trio, the 3 musketeers of Ham. Oh, hello. Well, they just lost. Probably. Hopefully. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's black, black. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Get a Zoraline on the board. Reanimate something. I don't know if I want to pick up the Harbinger right now. think I just pick up a Nettle Guard, I guess. Or do I hold up the mana for plus and plus ones here? Actually, I'll hold the mana for plus and plus ones. I don't think Nettle Guard really impacts the board at all. But plus and plus one to all attackers definitely does. But yeah, we get the Bat Life Drain triggers, and we plus one so nobody dies to the Clifftop Lookout without a combat trick from our opponent. And we can kill them in 2 swings if they can't kill us on the crackback here. Oh, right, I forgot about the boar. This is still definitely right for all of the Zora line triggers. They're still dead next turn. They only kill one of our flyers. And now they're down to 1 reach blocker. Okay, that's so not impactful. I'm actually just declining for mill purposes. They're at 4 life. There's another Roughshod duo. Wild. Oh, a second copy of the Wildfire Howl? That might actually be the victory for our opponent. Yo, that is actually wild. It's in the name. Wow. Alright. Well, if we had to lose, what a game to lose. My lord. I think I'm pretty confident our opponent ended up at 4 there, so had we not jump attacked with Glide Dive, that would have been the extra damage we needed for them to just be dead here. That's unfortunate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 plus 5 is 22 damage. If I don't block with the Harbinger, then it doesn't matter. I can't kill them, but I'm slightly more likely to, because I can pick up Cleric and then reanimate it and then play a Sunscorched Desert and hit them for 3, put them to 1. Anything else I can do here? I can pick up a Glide Dive duo instead of a Starscape Cleric, but that's not going to work because they're at 4. I would just deal 2. They have a blocker up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25. Yeah, I go to 1, I guess. And then I might, have some Sunscorched Desert gain life out here, but probably not. I don't think it's enough damage. I think it's literally 1 off. Yeah, I don't see... Lupin Flower Village, 6 cards left. What would I hit off of a Lupin Flower Village? There's a Ravine Raider in there, and that's it. So I would hit a Ravine Raider. So... I guess send a message, put them to 1 life. I have to take the Offspring card. Yeah, it's just not quite there. It's not quite there. If I top deck... No, I don't have enough black mana. I was going to say if I top deck Scales of Shale, I can get life gain off of that, and that would kill them. But I don't have the black mana to cast that because I have to play a Sunscorched Desert here for the shoot. Dang. Oh, that's so close. Well, maybe they'll play a Sunscorched Desert for some reason. Oh, they already played all 6. Never mind. They can't even do that. They can't even punt. Wow. Yeah, long game of Magic. It was winnable, but I just did not fully know Zorline's text on that one. And 3-1 it is, heading into game 5. Alright, here we are for game number 5. Time to sit here and do nothing until turn 4. You love to see it. It's definitely a keep with the good mana and great removal, though. So here we are. Alright, well, I got a turn 3 play. Solid draw. Playing against Boros. They start with the Steam Path Charger, followed up with Carrot Cake. A little scry towards another land here. Star Charter with no immediate triggers is going to be a little sad, but I think it's still going to be the play next turn. Cool. Actually, I don't need to. We should just be playing basics first, unless you're going to crack that this turn anyway, I think. Especially because I've got 2 white non-creature spells, and I can't cast both of them with these lands. Oh no, we found our saver target. They're still going to have 1 Manifold Mouse, which is still a big deal, but at least they're not giving Double Strike Trample every turn, but the duo is already giving Trample, so they are by a different method. Well, might just get insta-bombed out by the incredible mouse. We'll see. I guess I can repel Calamity the Roughshod duo here. So this is Savor the Mouse immediately. Dropper Ravine Raider and repel. Or crumb and get it. I don't think I eat the food to trigger Star Charter right now. I don't think I have the life to play around with not getting rid of this Trampler. Lania's Pathmaker. +1/+1 trample the rabbits to play around Repel Calamity? I assume. Well, Crumb and Get It works here too. But I'm going to be very low on life. Or are they just not even going to attack with Roughshod Duo? Just play around absolutely everything? Alright. This is the beginning of your end step. So I'm not going to draw a card off Star Charter if I gain life from it now, or from the food now. I think I'm casting anything, I just take 2. I can hit them with Banisher and Star Charter, and then not die. I can kill them next turn. Because I hit them for 5, they go to 8. I can hit them for 7 off of Scales, 9 off of Scales and Crumb. And I get to cast Consumed by Greed and Repel Calamity on blocks here. I think I should have eaten that food. That was greedy. This game's going to end too fast for the extra Star Charter card to matter. Now the lethal is only if they tap out of Carrot Cake. So there's also that to consider. Alright, lots of triggers here. They only have red mana up, so they can't give Indestructible. Just gonna make sure all this resolves before I declare any blocks. I guess it doesn't matter because they both have trample. So if it doesn't resolve, I'm dead anyway. Even if I could throw a Ravine Raider in front. They have +1 would work. Rabanaugh. Oh, that's gross. Would we be alive right now if we ate the food? Yeah, we would be exactly alive. That's 2 in a row that were definitely winnable. I was just worried we could be in a position where we just flood out there and we need this food to turn into a land draw, or to turn into a creature draw off the Star Charter, but really didn't play out that game. The tempo of the game is going way too fast to do that, so yeah. Should have eaten the food. That was the punt that cost us there. That is 2 in a row winnable games that we lose. We would have had to play pretty much perfectly in both of those. Our opponents had a huge lead, but still a huge bummer to lose like that. All right, here we are for game 6 on the draw. This is a very nice opener. Zorline into the Augur here. I'll go Nettleguard for Nettleguard. It gives me stuff engraved for Zorline. Or Nettleguard for Combat Trick is fine too. If they have the +1/+0 draw card Combat Trick, that would actually be... No, that'd still be fine, because it only have 3 toughness. Alright, Thistledown players, sure. Welcome, how it doing? Maybe Augur first is reasonable here since Zorline's so good on turn 5. But I'm a greedy man that always wants to offspring that thing. Sure. Take out the trash. Bad draw is bad. Yeah, and we're actually naturally pretty behind right now. So where Augur is going to be incredibly painful, I really don't see another option here to get out of the Mana Screw. And I could just try to block plus Scales of Shale, but that is super bad to try to use combat tricks on the defensive. They just need a single trick of their own for it to be bad, and a single burn spell completely loses us the game if we try to just go block Scales of Shale. I'm gonna guess a single big enough burn spell loses the game on the Augur anyway. Guess I'll 3/3. Man, 3/3 feels like an 0-3 for this deck. So this was a pretty disappointing run. Yeah, the lack of lands drawn here means even if we did hold the Zoraline and try to do 5 mana, we're in a firmly losing position either way. Does not look like this one was winnable at all, but the first 2 games absolutely were. Or the first 2 losses, which is what makes it such a bummer. Again, they weren't like massive, obvious, glaring punts or anything, but they were lines that did not pan out well for us that we 100% had the opportunity to do differently. Well, our first loss was just a massive glaring punt. We did straight up chump attack for no reason. But the second loss, I think, was reasonable to go with the lines that we did. We might not be completely out of this game. If we can hit land 5, we have some big plays. But we're certainly far behind right now. Okay, maybe we are getting there. We'll see. We pray for no more removal from our opponent, because if they do, they counteract the Scales of Shale and 2 for 1 us, and that is terrible bad. Yeah, that's pretty horrible. I could Scales, but I don't have a good blocker up after the Scales anyway. There's a lot of burn. Oh, wow, and the Seedglaive Mentor for the trigger from Captain might just be lethal off the top. Incredible draw. Not quite lethal on board. Okay, not quite lethal. Yeah, the Seedglaive Mentor for just another 4 damage out of nowhere is huge. Again, I wasn't holding these Raiders back because take out the trash against this, like, block Scales would have been so bad for us at any point there. Let's see. They've used 3 burn spells now. Maybe they are finally out. Looks like they might be out. Okay, and these 5 drops can stabilize, granted we find land 5. Okay, they're flooding. They're flooding. I'm gonna play around Quake Tusk Boar so they can't just top deck a 5/5 haste. Oh no, now any creature they draw is double strike haste. Okay, they are 100% playing off the top, but they could top deck almost anything to give us a very bad time. I'm gonna eat this food. There's land 5, baby. That's a huge one. Now that I'm at 8, it is fully leveled. They have to top deck something with 3 or more power to kill me. If I play Cleric. I actually should have just not attacked with Ravine Raider then. That was dumb. Because now I have to Glide Dive Duo instead of Starscape Cleric. I guess I still technically lethal them in just 1 more attack either way. Because I can Crumb and get it in double buff Raider. Yeah. But I should have just not attacked with Raider and offspring the Cleric. Because the Cleric can't block anything, so that's so risky against the talent here. But if I went for Cleric holding up a Raider as the trump blocker, that would have been much better. But it looks like we just win anyway. We're fine. There's the GG from opponent. And GG, we have lethal on board and they have no cards in hand. So we send in for it, and there's the concession. I was pretty confident it was all over. I mean, I said from like turn 4 or whatever. I was doing the whole outro of the video already. I was like, man, punted it out. But it looks like we didn't punt it out all the way yet. We are still in it at 4-2, heading into Game 7. All right, here we are for game 7, on the draw yet again. A lot of slow starts going around, but that's fine. We got a strong deck. We can make up for it. There's the Assassin. That is a very threatening start for us, draining us for life, even if we can get good blocks up for it. With Augur into Star Charter here, am I actually in a position where I want to just block 1 point of damage rather than hitting for 2? I think I actually am. I want to just soak up 1 of the 2 points of damage here, which is kind of embarrassing. Yep, Black-White is the worst matchup because they have the most ways to make us lose life out of nowhere. I suppose Red has some direct-to-face burn, but not a lot of heavily played direct-to-face burn in this format. It's mostly creature burn in this set. Okay, yeah, I kind of think I need to just dump out the Augur here immediately, rather than skipping another turn. And now Raider doesn't block anything. Could stack into a double block, but that would involve putting the Augur at risk, which we don't want to do. And if they just removal spell Augur, then Raider blocks nothing anyway. Yeah, I don't think we're blocking at all, however they attack. So we don't want Augur to get savored or anything. Crumbed. There's Jolly Gerbils. So if they give us food, or sorry, if they give us anything, they gift us anything, then they draw a card. We hit Cutthroat off of Augur, which is a little painful, but not as painful as if we drew the Glide Dive duo off of it, so all in all, probably fine. Star Charter is the play for this turn, and next turn I can Cutthroat plus Repel, or I can Glide Dive duo. I'm pretty sure I'm still, even at 12, just not putting Augur at risk, so we just poke. Yep, there's the saver, which is very bad for my life total. 2 cards left in hand, the Sinister Monolith for life drain, and it's 5, go to 5 life with Augur on board. And I can just chump with Augur next turn. I actually can't even chump with Augur, because none of their creatures have 3 power. Okay, that's kind of brutal. And a 3-drop is kind of brutal. Guess I'll die, right? Glide Dive Duo pass, I'm at 3 life. 42% of my deck is lands. There are 7 3-drops out of 26 cards. It's like a little under a 1 out of 3 chance of just dying if I can sit here at 3 and pass turn. I mean, I don't think we can end up with much better odds than that. Take the 1 and 3, and then we can try to Scales plus Crumb and get it into a chunk of life gain. Just buying us the time to draw into more consistent life gain, like Zorline or something. One of the double Harbingers would also work decently. Oh boy. Oh boy. I can't stay at 1 or Monolith just kills me. And Assassin, actually, for the 1 life drain. So I'm getting drained for 2 here. So I basically have to... I have to Scales attack Probably with Glide Dive Duo, and then I've got a really low number of blockers. But I'll still have Consumed by Greed plus Repel up, or Savor and Crumb and get it, or... Do I Scales and Crumb and get it on this attack? Maybe... But then I only have 4 mana up on blocks, but that's still enough to cast Savor and Repel, but none of their creatures are big enough to repel, which is the problem. I guess it's Savor and Repel or Consumed by Greed. Sure. Or Savor and Eat the Food, that's also something. Dire Sight. Okay, they're choosing to go pretty low then. Well, not that low. They're going to be at 12. But low enough that I'm starting to see a slight chance of doing some flying shenanigans. They've got 1 reach creature and that's it right now. They got anything good in grave for order? Not really. So I think I'm just cashing this in to gain life right now. Buying as many Darkstar Augur turns as possible. For as many Glide Dive Duo attacks as possible. Nettleguard blows up the Monolith, shuts off their draw 2 and their life drain. Costs 3 mana to do that. I can still cast a Cutthroat or hold up a Consumed by Greed. Consumed by Greed is not very good on the current board, though. So I think I just play the Cutthroat then, and the Nettleguard. The second Monolith. Man, I just got rid of you. What are you doing here? Yeah, that might be dead. Off of the top deck Monolith. Well, we're at 4. I cannot die off anything in my deck here. Oh god, but I can get close off a 3-drop. And we drew into 0 life gain. Yeah, I just died to the assassin. I have no way to deal with it. I could draw into life gain off of the village. If I hit exactly Zoraline, I could maybe slightly not die. It's our only bet now. Nope. That will do it. Yep, I mean, I just lose when they go to combat, let alone mentioning the assassin here. Well, shoot. This deck probably should have done a 7-win run had we played perfectly. But 4-2 is still reasonable rewards, which is good, but deck was insane. This was a pretty free draft pod. Very, very happy with the deck we ended up with. Just made a lot of punts here. I think probably all 3 losses were winnable. That last one we were probably a little too aggressive in the early game and stuff like that. But definitely our first 2 losses were 100% winnable. Yeah, Not too much to say. I think the deck is great. The one thing that would have been better, even though Double Harbinger is funny, the biggest pick I can remember making that would have made this deck considerably better would have been taking a Saver over the Harbinger the first time. Would be on double Saver and one Harbinger. I think that's just a better deck layout in general. Again, double Harbinger is really funny and everything, but a little more removal could have gone a long way. And that was our best other opportunity to find removal, was to take Saver over Harbinger. So I think that was the only pick that I really think went poorly drafting-wise. So yeah, very happy with the drafting and deck building today for the most part. The gameplay is where we really faltered. There were a couple really long, difficult games where we would have had to play pretty much perfectly to win, and we certainly did not play perfectly with trump attacks and not eating our food. Those were the biggest misplays of the day. But yeah, third loss and second loss, I think those were like just general more nebulous misplays of like I was a little too aggressive, or a little bit not defensive enough, or I should have cracked the food for mana efficiency to get that life gain immediately, rather than trying to save it to draw a card in case we flooded, because the game was so likely to end early. You know, those are a lot harder to kind of see coming and stuff. So the only really bad, really big punt was the chump attack with Glide Dive Duo, because I didn't fully read Zoraline. I thought I had a firm grasp of all 8 lines of text on this magic card, but that's not true. I only knew 7 of the 8. I missed that with mana value 3 or less, and it cost us that game. So, alright, 4-3, again, still a reasonable record. It was a very fun deck, pretty fun draft here, so I'll take what I can get. And we'll take all those gems we just got back and hop into another draft tomorrow, but that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.